Alright, so we're going to create a final scene for your character. Maybe breaking a wall, smashing cubes, whichever. We're going to be using Massfx. We're going to implement a pbomb in there, and we're going to use a fracture script, which is available on Moodle for you to download. You can have a go and get that in a safe place now. And let's begin. All right, so we'll maximize this viewport, and we're going to create in fact, before we create anything, we're going to find our Massfx toolbar. So if you haven't already got it up, you can right click anywhere on your panel at the top and make sure that's selected, the Massfx toolbar is selected, and that'll either open it up in a separate panel here. I've just docked it on the side here. So when you click the top one, it will bring up your Massfx tools, which we'll go through in a bit. This one is to select whichever one, so you've made a box or whatever, we're going to set it as either dynamic, kinematic or static. And we're going to use these three at the bottom here. So this will play the animation of the scene that you set. This one will reset it. And then this one, you can skip it frame by frame. So at the bottom here, when you've got frame 1, 2, and 3, it'll go through 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see it individually all the way through. All right, so we're going to go and create a plane as such. We're just going to select it, and then we're going to hold down the sphere, and we're going to set it as static, so it won't be moving or going anywhere. And then we're going to select or create a box even. Just going to give them parameters of 10 by 10 by 10. Okay. In fact, what I'm looking for, we have to convert it to edge poly first. I'm just going to select the edges. I'm just going to chamfer 0.5. I'm going to go 3 segments like such. I'm going to select the polygons round. You're pressing the wrong buttons there. The one underneath. And we're going to just bevel those in. Just slightly. I'll give it a wonderful cube. I'm just going to go to the material editor and just change a few. If it doesn't open in this mode, you can select the mode here and change it. So the one you want is the compact material editor, and then that'll bring up this version here. So you can see the materials that you're putting on. So on the first one, we're just going to just make it a bit darker. And on the second material, make that quite bright. I'm just going to change the self-illumination colour, make it a bit brighter so it'll have a glow. On the first material, we're just going to change the specular level. There, and I'll just give it a bit of a sheen. So you can drag the first one over onto your selected cube. If you press Ctrl and I, it'll invert your selection, your highlighted selection, and you can click on the second material and drag that over as well. And there you go. So basically, when you render it, that's what you have there. You can make this one glow a bit and it'll look like glowing cubes. It's entirely up to you. So, now we have that. Just going to come off that. And select the cube. Come out of the create and then select the entire cube. Now when you press shift and drag it over, give you the option to create 10 copies. And I'll select them all. You want to select everything. If you press Alt and the floor, it'll deselect it. So it'll just have the cube selected. Press shift and drag them over again. You'll create more copies. And we're just going to create, we'll just create 3. And then we'll do the same again. Select all, deselect the floor, hold shift, and we're going to drag them up. And we'll just create another 3. And there we go. Our entire block of cubes. Now you can select them all again. You deselect your floor. We're just going to put them into a selection set up here. So in the toolbar at the top, you can see a space, and we're just going to call these cubes. So now when you ever deselect off them and you want to select all your cubes again, instead of selecting all and deselecting whatever you have in the scene, you can just click on this down box there and select your cubes, and that'll select it all for you straight away. So much easier than going through it one by one. So now what we want to do is we want to set these as a dynamic rigid body. So if you go over to the sphere or the ball, steel ball looking thing, and set those. Now I have left a gap on them on purpose, because if you do bunch them together when you go through the animation, they're just going to sometimes retract upon themselves and then explode out. Obviously not greatly, but it won't work. So when you go through, if you hit the play, you'll see them all fall down together and wobble slightly. Now if you did have too many going stacks up, it's going to obviously all fall down. But because we've only got 4 high, it's not too bad. So we're just going to reset that. And we're going to add a sphere in there. Not too big. Just going to make sure that's in the center. So I'm just going to drag it out. Now we need to make this floor a bit bigger. So we're going to have to go into the settings and then the plane. And just drag that out a bit. Now, because we have made the plane bigger, but it hasn't set the Mass Effect, the rigid body, to it, so we're going to have to change that. So if you select the floor again and click on your tool, that'll open your tool selection. And in fact, never mind that, if you select the plane, it should be over here on the right hand panel, and you can regenerate selected down at the bottom here. And all that'll do is make the plane go across the floor to fit, like so. So back to the sphere. And change the segments down a bit, just so it makes it a bit smoother. And we're going to set the sphere to a kinematic rigid body. So let's hit play. Okay. So now we're going to set up our keyframes. So with the sphere selected, and we're on keyframe here, we need to select our auto key, and that will set that keyframe to number 0. I'll drag it across to number 5, and move the sphere over to the side. And then you're going to deselect auto key. So now you should have the 2 frames, and you can see it move through. So if we play, you can see the sphere collides, goes through, and all the boxes crumble. Which it looks alright, except the boxes are not falling off the plane, which is quite easy to solve. So we're just going to reset the animation. Click on your plane, open up your Massfx tools, and if you click on the third one, which is the multi-object editor, in fact, no, it's the first one, and we're going to change the environment to use ground collisions. We're going to uncheck that. And then play. You can see all the cubes fall off the plane. Now, it is quite good, but it depends what animation you're trying to get, whether the boxes explode or just fall off, be knocked over. As you can see, there's quite a few boxes still standing. We're just going to reset, and we're going to get them to explode a bit more. So we're going to go to the Create section, and if you click on Space Warps, and then you can see pbomb. Now, pbomb selected, we're going to draw a bomb in there. Make sure you only draw one and hit your select tool. I'm just going to put that in the center. Oops, not the brick. Try and put it in the center here. Okay, now we're just going to enlarge that a little bit. That should do. So, with that selected, if you go down to the parameters box, all right, we're going to change the start time to, say, keyframe 1, 2. 2 is where it just about collides with the bomb and the brakes. So we're going to hit start time on keyframe 2. Strength, we're just going to put it as maybe 25, 30. Around there, we'll see. We'll have a play with that and see how it goes. Now, in order for the bomb to work, we're going to have to just play that and I'll show you. As you can see, the bomb doesn't actually go off because it's not set to anything. So we need to assign this bomb to these cubes in the Massfx tools. So for reset, you go to the tools here on the third tab. In fact, we need to get this cube selected first. It might be helpful. So I'll select all the cubes, go to the Massfx tools, go to the third tab along, which is the multi-object editor. And if you can see forces, we need to add bomb to the cubes. You can see it come up there. So we can close that down. So now when we play the animation, you can see as soon as it hits the bomb, the P-bomb in the plane, all the cubes go everywhere, which was quite good. Reset that and have a look at it again. Maybe it's a bit too much, but you can change that in the settings. So if you reset, go to your pbomb, and you can change the strength. Change it down to 20. And there you have it. All explodes. I mean, you can preset these to different objects as well. So if you click on your sphere, you can see the preset here on the physical material. You can change that to steel. You can change all your cubes to concrete. If you go into your tools, your presets, you can change it to cardboard, concrete, rubber. They'll have different effects. As you can see, we'll need to set up the pbomb again. Reset, select the cubes, into the editor, into the third tab. The pbomb's there. Play. For some reason, it's taken away that bomb effect. Maybe because they set it up to steel onto concrete, that'll need changing. Maybe a bit higher. Not enough. $300. There you go. Because obviously, if they're being boxes of concrete, it's going to take a bit more to explode them. So you just have to have a mess around, and you can see all the different effects with those. So if you save that as boxes explosion, we're going to create a wall. Make sure you've got the fractured script downloaded off Moodle. Alright, so now we're going to create a wall. So, W. And let's get plane in. And again, we're going to set this to static. And then we're going to create a wall. Could be too big. That'll do. So now we'll have to open that script. So if you go to the area where you saved it and just drag it in to 3ds Max, it'll bring this pop-up window here. So basically, this is how an easy way you can fracture. It's a script that's downloaded off the internet. So you can pick an object, which we're going to select the wall that you've just created. We're going to fracture it into, let's go for 100 parts. I'm not going to mess with any of the selections on here. Multicolor, we're going to keep it on multicolor because when it fractures, we'll see all the different splits in different colors, which is quite easy for what we're going to do. And then you can just select break. Now this will take a while depending upon the PC. Now, as you can see, it's done it in 6 seconds. And they have a lovely fractured wall. Now, we're going to get a ball to go through it again, but if you select box and then select another part of the wall, you can refracture that, but not too big because that's when it starts going crazy. So we're just going to break it in 10. As you can see, when it explodes, we'll get some smaller pieces going on. You can do this for other sections as well. So just break those in 10. Warning, as you do more and more, it is going to get slower. So You don't want to do too many. That should do. So we can close this now and select all. I'm going to deselect the floor. In fact, when I've been doing it previously, I'm just going to check. Okay. Yeah, let's get that plane in as well. Basically, it's duplicated it, as you can see here. So we're going to have to find that one. I think that was box number 1. We're just going to delete it. So if we select all now and deselect the floor, I'm just going to call this wall here. So we can select it all together. And then we're going to set that as a dynamic body. And then we're going to create a sphere. Go. Did I not create it? It's all the way over there for some reason. How on earth did that happen? Never mind. So we're just going to make sure that's in the center again. Yep, that should do. So make sure it's in the center of where you've smashed everything. But I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. And there we go. So I'm going to do the same as before, which is set the keyframes. So on 0 keyframe, click Auto Key, move to keyframe 5, and move the sphere through, and then deselect Auto Key. And then when you run through, that should go perfect. So we're going to change the sphere settings. Did we not make an edge? We didn't. And set it as kinematic. So I need to do that. I'm going to give that steel again. Reset. It basically changes the density of the mass. And all those bits there. So we have it set as a spear. That's good. I'm going to play that and see how it goes. As you can see, crashes right through. Fantastic. It's going to reset. Again, you can change the plane. And if you uncheck these ground collisions, all your pieces will fall off the plane. as such. Now you can add some trees, I don't know, water, sand, whatever it is that you want your scene to look like. And you could have your character crashing through it instead of the ball. You could have it punching it, hitting it, attacking it with its tail, whichever. I'll leave that down to you.